Great question presented to us was, what is the difference between cracking my own neck and a chiropractor cracking it? I had somebody say today, well, I go and I crack my own, so I don't need an adjustment. Do you know the anatomy in your neck? Do you know all the blood vessels, the nerves, the muscles that attach to it? Do you know what a chiropractic adjustment does? Do you know why it's different from cracking your own neck? Well, obviously not, right? But know that the anatomy in your neck is very complicated and robust. And so if you just go whipping your head around, especially at high velocity, that is no bueno. You could put yourself in some greater discomfort than before you cracked your neck, and you could even, say, dissect an artery, or we talked about how moving your own neck in everyday ranges of motion puts more stress on the vertebral artery that travels from C6 up through the transverse foramen in your cervical spine, these holes in your neck bones to your brain, right? Than do chiropractic adjustments. And why is that? And why is a chiropractic adjustment any different? I hear cracking with both. Well, what you're hearing is gas bubbles popping, right? Nothing's actually cracking. You're hearing gas bubbles pop in the synovial fluid that sits between what are called the facet joints, or zygapophyseal joints, as we call them as chiropractors. But they're like roof shingles that lock in at each level of the spine, right? And in the neck as well. And you have this joint capsule around them, holding them together. In between, there's fluid, and these gas bubbles build up, these nitrogen gas bubbles. When you get an adjustment or you crack your own neck, boom, they pop. Why do you feel good? You release good endorphins. Good endorphins, for anywhere from, say, 30 to 45 minutes, you might feel good after even cracking your own neck or getting an adjustment from a chiropractor. But the adjustment from a chiropractor leaves a longer-lasting feeling, good feeling, and a longer-lasting effect. And why is that exactly? Well, as a chiropractor, we are well-trained, not only in anatomy and physiology and the nervous system and everything like that. We know what we're looking at, right? Especially if we took x-rays or MRIs or something of that nature to get a better picture of what's going on inside your spine before doing the adjustment. But we know what we're feeling. We know exactly what we're feeling, and so we feel your neck, for example, and we feel how the bone is misrotated, right? When you crack your own neck, you're not accounting for how the bone is misrotated. What if it's misrotated like this, and you should really push it this way, right, and simple, without getting too deep into listings and things of that nature in chiropractic, and you go and you put it further the other way. Well, you might get that popping sound, you might get some movement, but are you correcting any of the problem? No, you're not. You're not correcting the problem. You're moving around that joint in a random way, right? And now the body's really intelligent, and you might say, well, it's telling me to move it the right way. Yeah, but here's the other thing. Even if that was the case and you understood which way it should move, a chiropractor can't adjust their own neck. I can't adjust my own neck. Dr. Natalie adjusts my neck, and she's about the only person that do that. But as a chiropractor where the bones misalign, you feel right there on that segment, and you do tests like rotation and lateral bend to see how it's misaligned, and then put it back in the right direction to take pressure off the nerves, to loosen the muscles that attach to the spine, to improve range of motion, to improve posture, to reduce pain, and improve overall function and quality of life, right? So that's what we're doing, and that's the difference, is we are finding the misalignment and fixing it. And when somebody just cracks it themselves, they are not at all catering to the misalignment. You have no idea where it really is if you're cracking your own neck, quote-unquote cracking. Again, it's no cracking at all. Gas bubbles popping. And it's just not going to do you any good in the long term, and it could cause harm. I've seen horror story x-rays of people that quote-unquote crack their own neck. And this especially happens, like if you're going to do it and you want to feel good, you're like, all right, I get that I'm not correcting any misalignments, but Dr. Shane, it feels good when I do it. Can I do it? Look, if you can move your head in a natural range of motion and you get an audible from it, or a cracking sound, or a cavitation as we call it, then fine. But don't go and whip your neck. I see people go, watch-oom, try to go really quick, because there are ligaments, there are muscles that are attached to the spine, there are nerves between those bones, and there are blood vessels coming up through the cervical spine that you could damage with high velocity like that. Think of a whiplash injury. Think of somebody getting in a car accident and boom, it goes like that. We put high velocity into your neck with an adjustment, but it's very specific and it's very focused on where we feel there is the restriction and how, most importantly, how it is restricted. And so, Dr. Shane, what is the proof in the pudding that you corrected my misalignment? What is the proof in the pudding that when you did that adjustment that actually did something? One, typically you feel better, you have better range of motion. Two, proofs in the pudding, we look at your foot length, right? We look at your length of your feet, and the length of your feet could be off. In my patients, I showed a patient today. They brought their granddaughter in, and I said, "Come look at the feet of this patient." We don't have to talk about who it was. HIPAA violation. We'll avoid that. And they came over, and the foot was like this, right? And then I pushed a certain part of their pelvis. I said, "Look, you see, what do you think? Do you think it wants to go this way?" And I pushed it, and it went whoop. So then that was a stress check, right? We stretched it in one direction. I didn't do the adjustment yet. I saw where it wanted to move to make the feet even. Why is it important to have the feet even? What if the feet are uneven? How are you walking around? What happens, and that's exaggerated, right? Maybe it's, but what happens? Domino effect on the entire spine, right? The entire body's going to compensate for that, and it's no bueno. Certain muscles are going to get tight. Certain muscles are going to get weak because you're not using them enough, right? Certain muscles are overworked. Certain bones in the spine are going to misalign in certain ways to try to balance you against gravity. And so, if the foot was actually short anatomically, maybe you get a heel lift. But 95% of the time what I see is it was a misalignment in the spine. And it's corrected after the adjustment. In fact, I check the feet before, during, and after every adjustment. I see how we're doing throughout. Did we make a change yet? Oh, we got a slight change. What else could be contributing to this? Oh, maybe it's this or that. What could contribute to a short leg in itself in general? Right? It could be somebody has less cartilage in the hips. Somebody has less cartilage between their, femur and their acetabulum and the pelvis. Maybe they have less cartilage in the knee or the ankle. They had a previous ankle injury or a knee injury, something like that. And so it's appear shorter. There's less space in one of those joints, right? It's all right. It could appear shorter. Maybe somebody has a short leg. Maybe somebody has a short femur, or they have a short tibia or shin bone on that side. And they have a short leg. Or 95% of the time, or more, I would say, 99, it's just misalignment somewhere in the spine. If you had misalignment even in the neck like this, say, that domino effect goes all the way down to the pelvis and then down to the feet, and you can see the difference. So just by you turning your heads in certain directions, right? Turning your head in certain directions, or bending it, or, moving your leg in a certain way, or all these things, we can tell what is likely, because we're not looking inside your body. We have a good picture, but you don't know for sure, attributing to that short leg. We know what is attributing to that dysfunction in your neck in terms of a misalignment, and we correct it with an adjustment. It goes far beyond cracking your own neck. That's what we got for you. Hope it answered your question. Very interested, I think, and fun to talk about, really. Kelly, how you doing? Frank, Bull City, Sibia, Ash, what's up? Gemini, Guapo, and Fred Ed. As for now, it's not all we got, because we got a very special birthday today, and it's my dad's birthday. Happy birthday to Papa Kenny Wend. Happy birthday, Kenneth Wend. Kenneth Charles Wend, my dad, who I will always know him by, is an amazing man. And he's done amazing things for me, and I appreciate it more than he will ever know. Respect him more than he will ever know. He's great at everything. He continues to do a great job in life. We could talk about him for hours. I'll see him and I'll hang out with him here in a little bit, eating some chicken parmesan and maybe playing some poker or whatever else. We were playing badminton yesterday, right? And he's turning 65. So happy 65. May you feel 65 years young. And he was killing it in badminton, right? 65, still moving around, still spry, still whoop your ass in sports. It's just it's just who he is. He'll still kick your butt in chess, right? You're like, oh, you lose cognition as you get older. I guarantee I'll take any 20-year-old. I actually bet on it. If you guys want to play my dad in chess, I would bet that he would win, a reasonable amount of money, of course, unless you're some young prodigy. But even still, he'd give you a great run for your money, I'm sure. So happy birthday, Dad. I love you more than anything. And this one's for you. I'm going to sing to you right now. Hopefully you could hear this somewhere in the house. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dad. Happy birthday to you. So many more. So many more. This one's for you. Forever be your day in the book of When Wellness. We'll see you guys later. Have a great night.